Have you ever heard of a place that just doesn't feel right? Somewhere that seems normal on the surface, trees, dirt, fog, but the air? It's heavy. The silence? Too quiet. The deeper you walk in, the more your skin starts to crawl, like something is watching you. That's Witchmoor Hollow. It's not famous. You won't find it in travel blogs or documentaries, but the people who live near it, they know. They've heard the stories. Some swear they've seen the lights. Others refuse to even talk about it. There's no cell phone signal, no marked trails, and every few years someone goes missing. No body, no answers, just gone. Some say it's haunted. Others believe it's cursed. A few even think it's not part of our world at all. Whatever the truth is, one thing's certain. Witchmoor Hollow doesn't play by the rules of reality. And once you step inside, you might not come back the same. Witchmoor Hollow sits in a forgotten corner of the countryside, somewhere between crumbling farmlands and endless woods. There's no proper road that leads to it, just narrow dirt paths overgrown with weeds, barely wide enough for a single car. Locals say it's about 2 hours from the nearest town, but no one really agrees on which direction. Some maps don't even show it. Others mark it simply as private land or leave it blank entirely. If you ask 10 different people where Witchmoor Hollow is, you'll get 10 different answers. That's part of the legend. The terrain itself is strange. It's made of soft earth and sunken ground, almost like a marsh. People who've tried hiking through it describe the air as thick, almost like it's pressing down on you. Even on clear days, the hollow is shrouded in mist. Fog rolls in, slow and heavy, like it's alive. Old trees line the edges of the area, twisted, leaning, with blackened bark. Birds don't sing there. Wind doesn't move the leaves. And right in the center, they say, is a dried-up well, covered in moss, surrounded by stones. No one knows who built it. No one knows why it's there. Some say that well is the heart of it all, the beginning of every story that ever came out of Witchmoor Hollow. But where the hollow actually begins, and where it ends, is something nobody has ever figured out. The first stories about Witchmoor Hollow go back hundreds of years. According to old journals and second-hand accounts, settlers in the late 1600s and early 1700s avoided the area entirely, not because of what they knew, but because of what they felt. They called it the Dead Patch, a place where crops wouldn't grow, animals wouldn't go, and tools rusted faster than anywhere else. One of the earliest legends tells of a young woman who lived near the hollow. She was said to be a healer, someone who used herbs and rituals passed down from her grandmother. But when a harsh winter swept through and children in the village started getting sick, the townspeople turned on her. They accused her of witchcraft, said she cursed the land, that her rituals had awakened something dark in the forest. One night, without trial or proof, they dragged her out of her cabin and tied her to the old tree that still stands near the hollow's edge. They set it on fire, but here's the strange part. I walked in for 20 minutes and came out 2 days later. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I didn't see the sun, just fog and whispers. Always the whispers. There's also a man named Jonah who used to run a small bait shop just outside the region. He tells a simpler story, but it's no less strange. Sometimes I hear a bell, he says. Just one single bell, like a church bell, always around 3:17 in the morning. No church around here rings a bell anymore. And then there's the well. Everyone mentions the well. One teenager claimed he dropped a rock down to see how deep it was. He never heard it hit the bottom. Another said she saw something looking back up at her, but not a reflection. A face. These stories don't make headlines. They're not in the news, but they're passed around, told over beers, whispered at gas stations, shared in old internet forums that no longer exist. And whether you believe them or not, one thing connects them all. No one who walks into Witchmoor Hollow comes out the same. Over the years, Witchmoor Hollow has quietly attracted the attention of investigators, both official and unofficial. The first recorded police involvement dates back to 1978. A group of 3 campers went missing after setting up near the hollow's edge. Their car was found parked, gear inside, tent still zipped up. But they were gone. No sign of struggle, no tracks. Just a single journal entry left behind that read, "We heard the singing again last night. It's getting closer." The case was never solved. Authorities eventually ruled it an environmental disappearance, which basically means we don't know. Then in 1992, a small documentary crew from a local university tried to film inside the hollow. They planned a 2-day shoot for a student film about British folklore. They brought cameras, tents, even a drone, which was a big deal back then. They made it to the site. The last thing they captured was static. No one knows what happened, but none of the footage survived. When they came back, they looked shaken. One member quit school entirely. Another refused to speak about it for years. There was even a short report filed to local council records, now redacted, that mentioned audio disturbances, navigation anomalies, and one phrase that stands out, time loss confirmed. Recommend sealing access until further notice. Nothing ever came of it. Online, there's a growing collection of modern-day accounts, too. Urban explorers, ghost hunters, Reddit threads. Most posts are harmless curiosity. But some are different. One user claimed they camped overnight with friends and all their watches froze at exactly 2:14 a.m. Another uploaded a blurry photo of what looked like a figure in the fog, too tall, no face, and standing just beyond the trees. The post was taken down within hours. The account disappeared. And here's where it gets really strange. No official agency has ever acknowledged Witchmoor Hollow as dangerous. No warnings, no signs. But people who've tried contacting local authorities about it often report the same thing. Silence. Emails go unanswered. Phone numbers disconnected. It's as if someone, somewhere, wants it forgotten. But it's not forgotten. Witchmoor Hollow feels off because it's supposed to. It's the kind of place that triggers something primal in us. Unmarked, isolated, repetitive landscapes. Your brain can't latch onto landmarks, so it panics. Time stretches, direction fades. You feel alone, even if you're not. So yes, science can explain parts of the mystery, but even scientists admit Witchmoor Hollow is still an outlier because the numbers don't match. Too many missing persons, too many identical stories, too many people coming back changed, and none of the instruments explaining why. And that keeps the questions alive. So, why do places like Witchmoor Hollow capture our imagination so deeply? Why do we keep going back to stories like these, even when they scare us? It's because we're wired for mystery. Deep down, we crave the unknown, not because we want answers, but because we want the feeling, that chill on the back of your neck, the pause before you step into the dark, the possibility that something exists beyond what we can explain. Places like Witchmoor Hollow are rare, not just because they're spooky, but because they make us feel something in a world where almost everything has been mapped, labeled, and solved. When we hear about voices in the fog or people vanishing without a trace, part of us gets scared. But another part, a quiet, curious part, leans in closer. These legends live in that space between fear and fascination. They remind us that no matter how much we think we know, there's still room for mystery. And maybe that's the most human thing of all. So now you know the story. The land no one maps. The well no one built. The disappearances, the legends, the science that almost makes sense until it doesn't. Witchmoor Hollow isn't famous. It's not on any list of haunted places to visit. But maybe that's the point. It doesn't want to be found. And yet, people still go. Curious strangers, brave skeptics, late-night explorers with cameras and flashlights, all looking for something they can't quite explain. Some come back with nothing. Some don't come back at all. And some? They return changed, not in obvious ways, not with scars or stories they can prove, but with a look in their eyes, like they saw something they weren't supposed to, something that didn't want to be seen. So now the question is, would you go? Would you step off the path? Ignore the cold in your spine? Walk past the twisted trees and look into the mouth of that old stone well? Would you stand there in the silence and wait to see if it stares back? Maybe you're thinking, it's just a legend, it's just a story. But ask yourself this, if Witchmoor Hollow isn't real, why do so many people tell the same story again and again? And if it is real, would you dare visit, or would you rather keep it exactly where it is? Just a whisper, in the dark.